Hey guys, it's Benzino 101 back with another video. I kind of wanted to talk about something that's like really popular and growing. It's called LooksMaxxing, but I don't want to talk about LooksMaxxing specifically because it's very controversial in itself. The community is controversial, but I kind of do want to say LooksMaxxing in and of itself is not a bad thing. Eating better, taking care of your skin, taking care of your health, making sure you look good. That is what LooksMaxxing really is. There's a lot of cope going on. There's a lot of, oh, you should mew or you should do something like bone smashing, all these things. Guys, these things they're not really gonna work. They're not really natural. If you have a really sharp jawline or really high cheekbones, if you have predominantly masculine features in your face, that is genetic. There's a ways that may enhance what you already have. There's fillings, there's surgeries you can do, but there's not gonna be too much that's gonna change the way your face is. That's a bone. Your jawline is a bone. Your face is structured the way it is, and for the most part, you should accept that. You should be able to look in the mirror and accept who you are. You should not have people online who are gonna profit off your insecurities. You can't let people online profit off your insecurities by making a safe space for you to hear like what they're saying, and then making you feel inferior to them. 'Cause that's honestly what it comes down to. Of course, there's nothing wrong with hearing the raw truth. The raw truth is that in this world, looks do like matter a lot. They do, but they're not everything. And that's what this video is gonna be about. It's gonna be the fact that looks are not everything. Yes, looks matter. A lot of times, people in this world who look really attractive, they get things a lot easier. It is always going to be that way. There is nothing you can do about that. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing you can do. And there's people who will keep it a buck in relationships. If you look good, a lot of people are going to look past what you do that are negative. A lot of people are going to lower their standards. That is just the way that it is. But the reason why I say that looks are not everything is because people on the outside, they look at things like this, like, oh, that's an added benefit, or oh, cool, the good-looking guy is going to get all the women. The good-looking guy is going to get to get free passes. You're going to get to treat this girl like negative. But that's the thing. There's cause and effect. Is that woman lowering her standards? Is that going to get her any respect out of the relationship? Is that going to get her anything long-term? Is that going to get her married? Is that going to get her a family? Is that going to get her anything that she may want externally outside of a relationship may offer? Is that going to get her a home? There's a lot of times where there's guys who will take care of a woman entirely and have her live with him, but he will never marry her, or he will not take her good. And that's what I'm saying, that look, like at that point, it wouldn't necessarily matter because you're sacrificing your respect, to be with someone who's attractive, and that's not necessarily worth it. Or we'll have a guy, say, who looks good, but he gets treated really terribly. Like for example, there's guys who are millionaires who look good, athletes. You see it all the time where there's athletes getting divorces, where there's athletes having custody battles, facing domestic violence charges, where there's men who are high status and they still struggle. They still have quote unquote broke people problems. So it's not all about looks. Being a good person is actually gonna make you go a long way. And I feel like a lot of good guys, they make the mistake of doing this. They make the mistake of appearing to have no flaws. Like you should not appear to have no flaws. I'm not saying that you go on a date and you start listing things that you do bad, because obviously you want to be impressionable when you're on a date and you make your first impression. But what I am saying is that you don't have to present to a girl that you're Mr. Perfect. If you are going on a date with a girl and she's not okay with going to get coffee, if she's not okay with just seeing you, then that girl does not like you. You should never have to take a girl out to a super fancy restaurant or anything like that for the first time you're meeting her. Meeting someone is just to get to know them. It's just to get the test, to get to see who they are. If there's someone who requires you to take them to a fancy restaurant, something expensive for the first time you're meeting them, to be honest, that's not a person that you want to be with. And if that's that woman's standard for any date all the time, then that's not a person you want to be with, because that person is focused on lifestyle. That person is too focused on image. it's so much things going on externally that she needs to validate herself, that she can't even realize that she's rotten here or that person's rotten here. I'm gonna be saying she a lot because I'm kind of talking from a man's perspective, but anything that I say applies to both. Like, guys, looks matching for the most part, a lot of people, it's gonna be about how men can appear attractive towards women. It's not really gonna be about how men can appear attractive to men. So I'm gonna be using a lot of women examples. As I already said, what I want is for a lot of guys to be able to see when there's a woman that actually likes him. When there's a woman that actually likes you, it's almost as if there's nothing you can do that is wrong. Not that you can't do actual wrong, but it's gonna be very easy to tell for you. No, she's not gonna make you have to do everything. Like you don't have to pay for everything, do all these things. When you have a woman who likes you, she's your partner. She supports you. She helps you. She allows you to be in your role. Vice versa. You see, the thing is, when there's a lot of people who are in good relationships, you don't see them. They're not on social media talking about how it's not working out, or how men are like this, or women are like this in this generation, or all people are bad. They're not on here talking about that. They're living their lives, because relationships, they're private, they're peaceful. You know what I mean? That's how they're supposed to be, peaceful. And stop looking for external things to validate how you feel about yourself. You know, the only way you're gonna feel good about yourself is when you actually start doing things that are gonna make you feel good about yourself. As a man, you feel like you're looking unattractive. You know what you can do? If you feel like you're looking unattractive, you can go to the gym and work on your body. You know what I mean? Maybe try a new haircut. Maybe eat a little bit better. Maybe let some facial hair grow. Maybe cut the facial hair. There's a lot of things. Maybe grow the hair out. Maybe cut the hair short. There's a lot of things you can do, and you can't convince me that on this very big earth, that out of billions of people, you can't find one person that finds you attractive. And again, like I told you, relationships are not based on attractiveness. You could be attractive, and a relationship can still fail, because you could be someone who's not emotionally available. You could be someone who's not stable, or you could be someone who's abusive. Those are just a couple of examples, but it depends on what you are as a person, how developed you are as a person. Even you could be the most developed person, and you could have picked the wrong person. It's just, they are like very specific, and the only way you're gonna know when you're taking a good risk when it comes to getting a partner is by being experienced. And a lot of people will say this: oh, only the good looking guys can be experienced. And the good looking guys may be the guys who go around seeing how women act, or being able to sleep with a lot of women and seeing all these things. Cool, but there's a double-edged sword to that. You could get as much experience as you want that way through sleeping around, but you're not going to be able to be compatible with like someone when the time to love comes. You're going to have to see a lot of things, and you're going to be like, nah, I'm kind of good. Like, I see how some of y'all be moving, and I kind of don't even want to put myself through that again. I don't put my heart on there. And so even being the guy who's kind of unexperienced will benefit you in that way, because you might be more willing to take that risk. You know what I mean? And who knows, maybe the first girl that you take that risk with is the girl that you stay with for the rest of your life. And from my perspective, God is in control. If you're really a God-fearing man, I think that you'll find a wife. If you're a guy who's living for the world, I think that it might be really hard for you to find that, because you might not even really believe that that's out there. And it's just what it is. Like, it's what it is. If you have a partner, right, and your partner is, for example, let's this is for the guys who are kind of inexperienced and they want to know whether or not they have a good partner. If you have a partner and your partner is constantly posting on social media, constantly out, things like these, constantly posting is a bad sign, because it's insecurity. You want validation. That's never good. You don't want somebody who's constantly posting, constantly on social media, especially if they're not getting paid for it. It's a terrible sign in a partner, and it's something that has to be addressed not by you, the partner, but by that person. If that person can't address that, I'd say slowly pull away, because that's gonna be a bad sign. And you gotta notice things like these early. You should be noticing things like these in a talking stage, because once your heart is in your relationship, it's gonna affect you more. Protect your heart. Protect your heart, because you can only give it to so few people. Another one. Let's say your partner's out clubbing or out a lot. That's a no-brainer. If your partner's out clubbing, you should not be with a person who's clubbing. Clubbing is not a single environment. Let's think another one. Your partner is friends with people who are promiscuous. Like if you're a guy and you're everybody's like messing with a bunch of girls, and you're a girl and you see that, you should obviously understand that all these people are doing that and you're not. Nah, birds of a feather flock together. That's common sense. Um, what else? Those are actually really valid examples. I feel like. So again, like I said, being looks matching, yeah, cool. You can look as good as you want, or whatever. But being a human being it's also sociable. At the end of the day, you look good for the approval of the opposite sex. If you're heterosexual, and I'm pretty sure most people watching this are, but you look good for that reason, and you should be trying to attract the person that you like. You know, if we stop with this generation focusing so much on looks and oh, I will hit this girl or that girl, and start actually looking at how rotten some of these people are, you're gonna save yourself so much time. Some of these people be looking so good, but they be so rotten on the inside. They have no personality. And some of the homies, they'll get there who look good, and they'll hear her complain about her problems, you know, and they won't care. They won't put their heart in it. They might hit, and it's not an issue for them. But like, dude, the problem is, yes, you getting the end goal out of it, but you're setting the bar so low, you know. You setting the bar so low. Like, no, you actually gotta know your girth, bruh. Know your girth, bruh. Don't even do it. You know what I mean? Don't even do it. And it's true, like some of us guys do have to bring our standards a little bit higher, because we are the reason why some of these people who are rotten on the inside think that they're like, you know, so much when they're not. And that's the thing, girls too. A lot of you women need to stop letting these guys who maybe they're attractive but they're rotten on the inside. They have nothing left, you know, and you keep giving your bodies to them. You know, it's not good. So I definitely preach for people to move away from looks maxing culture. Take the good out of it. Take the good and bettering your health, bettering your appearance, bettering your intelligence, all these things, and do that for yourself. Like, do it for you, because that is what you should be doing it for. To feel healthy, to feel confident. You step into a room, that is always gonna attract someone. You know, what's the point of looks matching if you can't even speak to people out in public? What's the point of looks matching if you don't have any social skills, like just speaking and holding a conversation? You know what I mean? What's the point of looks matching when you can't maintain eye contact? You know, what's the point of looks matching if you're someone who hops in a relationship and you're mostly available? That's what I'm saying. Like, you could looks match all you want, but it isn't gonna take away the other things that you have to develop. Looks are not everything. They're not. You know, it's gonna be good for the first impression, all these things. But dude, trust me, when you're 50 years old, looks matching it's not gonna matter at that point. When you're 40 years old, it's not gonna matter. What matters is the fact that you're planning for the future, because life, it ends. Like, it comes to an end. This shit doesn't last forever. We're not gonna be young forever, bro. I'm already 23. I feel old as fuck. You know? I feel old. We're enjoying it. It's not gonna last forever. Stop. Like, all this stuff is distractions. It's distractions. It's to get in our way. Like, if you're in your 20s, let's say mid 20s, dude, if you find a good partner, woman too, if you find a good partner, lock that up. It's not gonna be out there for that long. There's people who are 40 and they don't have a partner. That says a lot for the most part. Especially if you're not like just hopping out a divorce or nothing. You know, if you just someone who at the relationship and it's not working, that says a lot about you. You know, everybody's wrong, everybody's bad. You know, like, no. You gotta compromise for shit to work. You know. So yes, looks are not everything, especially if your main goal for looks matching is to get into a relationship. It's not. It just isn't. You know. Sometimes I consider myself a pretty good looking person, off of experience too. I'd say so, and I feel like I thought that a lot of times that something like that could carry me like in like a relationship or something like that would carry me. But the only thing that was gonna carry me in realistically is like the streets. If I have my ego on my sleeve, like if I'm just feeling my ego, that's the only place where it looks would carry anything. If it's your relationship, no, like I fear that because of how vulnerable I have to actually be. You gotta be vulnerable, bro. You know, and that's what makes it scary. You gotta be vulnerable, but a lot of people are vulnerable and they ain't never hurt. And that's exactly why you gotta make sure you have the right partner. Make sure that you guys are equally yoked. Make sure you have the same belief. You know, make sure everything is good. Make sure you guys genuinely have the same belief. That's very important because that's your foundation right there. Can't be a Christian and a Muslim. Someone's gonna have to be a Muslim, or someone's gonna have to be Christian at some point. You know, and make sure those things are established in the talking stage. Make sure when you're talking to someone, you make sure you ask everything possible, and make sure you base your decision to be with them off of what they do, not what they tell you, what they do. And I'll try to make more videos like this because that's kind of what I'm interested in talking about. But yeah, looks are not everything, and don't let those looks matching black pill people try to tell you that because it's not true. Well, it's a lot, but everything, no. All right, guys, Pacino 101 out.